to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, this is Deborah. I hope you are doing great today. And I just want to share a few thoughts with you. Normally, as you know, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I usually have interviews. I'm talking with other entrepreneurs, having them share their experience, having them share about their business. And I don't always talk about things myself. I have from time to time, not always. But right now, I just thought it was really important for me to share a few thoughts with you. I didn't post a podcast this week because I was on jury duty and I was really backed up with editing. But there's going to be a couple of posts next week, so I'm going to make up for that because I have a lot of wonderful shows lined up for you, quite a few that have been recorded already. So I can't wait for you to hear them. But what I want to say is, the reason that I ask my guests to talk about their journey first before we get into the topic is because I want them to share with you what they have experienced, the challenges, the ups and downs, everything they may have had to go through to get to where they are right now. So you don't think that it was just some easy breezy thing that they suddenly showed up doing what they're doing. You understand that it's a real journey, in spite of what some folks may try to tell you, that it's so simple, it's so easy, and it's not. Because life isn't really easy. So how could your business be so easy? It takes work, it takes commitment, it takes dedication. A lot of times it takes failures. It takes tripping up, it takes making decisions that didn't work out. All of that is a part of it, and that's a part of life. As entrepreneurs, I've always said that your business really is an extension of you in a lot of ways, because you now are putting yourself out there. Often you're the face of the business if you're doing it on your own. You may have branded it so that the business really is you, identifies with you or your lifestyle. So you're out there. You're exposed, if you will. You're in front of a lot of people. You are selling your brand. You're serving your clients and your customers. So that's a lot. It's not like being in a company where you can kind of hide behind a desk, behind a company email address or a title in the company that you can pretty much hide for the most part, unless you're on the front lines, some kind of senior manager or someone who may be more exposed. But if you're not, then it's not really your face out there. You're speaking for the company. Okay, so it's a whole different kind of environment than when you're out there yourself. And this is your dream, this is your thing that you've created, that you want to put out into the world. It feels much different. It's a bigger commitment for you personally. A lot of times it's a commitment of finances as well. So that's why I ask people to share that, so that you can hear the real deal from people who are actually doing it and are telling you what they went through while they got to where they are at this moment. And I'm also saying that right now because today I was looking online, and I probably spend too much time online, but I don't really get my news from other sources, so I look on there to see what's going on. And I was seeing a hashtag about Duchess Meghan, who's, as you probably know, married to Prince Harry, and about a interview that's going to go on about their tour. They've had a recent tour in Africa, and some candid things that she was saying about what she's been through with the transition into this new life, being a mom, and getting a whole lot of, I can say, harassment by the press over there. And I can say that because I've read a lot of it online. It's been pretty foul. Basically, why I feel that way is because, particularly speaking as a black woman out here in the world, you can really get put through the ringer. You're trying to do your best. You're trying to make it in whatever it is you're doing. And you can get hit with a lot of mess out here. A lot of mess that's based in misogyny. A lot of mess that's based in racism. You get hit with that constantly. And so for a lot of us, there's this idea of being the strong black woman, which is in itself a stereotype at this point. But there's this feeling of wanting to be strong on the outside because you don't want people to see that they're getting to you. And you have to carry on irregardless. You have to do what you can for you or your family, your community, whatever it is that you feel who is depending on you to keep it moving. And it is a stereotype. It is an incorrect one, because then if you dare to show emotion, if you get frustrated, if you are angry, then that is turned against you, usually. In the media particularly. You listening to this may say, well, I don't do that. Well, that's nice. I'm talking about overall. That gets turned against you. If you show emotion, you're an angry black woman, yet another stereotype. Or maybe some other thing is thrown in your face, that you're really uneducated, or you out of control, or whatever people can do to denigrate you for showing emotions and feelings, they're going to do. That is very difficult, to go through life pretending you don't have feelings, you don't feel, when you're in spaces a lot of times that are always plucking at your nerves. Not every single moment, depending on where you are, but there can be instances when these things start to hit you in the face and you run up against people who, because of their own prejudices, their own bigotry, their own insecurities, will really seek to put you in your place, that they think that's what they're doing. So I'm speaking from that experience because I am a black woman. Now, I have no doubt that I have many, many, many listeners who are not black women. And you may have gone through your own struggles. You can go through struggles for various reasons. And you may feel like, well, yeah, I can understand that. And I get it. I'm not saying that you wouldn't understand it. From a human perspective, we should all understand it. But I can only speak from my own experience. So if you're a listener, you're listening right now, and you understand what I'm saying, then that's great. You can identify with that, with what you've gone through in your life, or you have seen, then that's great. I don't have to explain that to you. You get it. Because bottom line, as human beings, we really need to be treating each other a hell of a lot better than we do. Okay, not dismissing people's experiences because we don't share them, or because them talking about that experience makes us uncomfortable for some reason, or we need to dismiss it because we didn't have that experience, so it must not be valid. That is wrong behavior. That's not right. That's not the right way to go about it. Okay, if you can't have empathy for your other human beings, then, just be quiet. Okay? Just be quiet. Because that's not the way to go. That's not the way to go. And if you are incapable of having empathy when people tell you they're suffering, they're going through it, then you need to check yourself and ask why that is. Don't project it onto someone else that they have a problem. you look within to see, why do you have a problem with what they're sharing? Because that's where it begins. Okay, that's why I'm saying that. So basically, her revealing what she's been going through emotionally, and how no one really has asked how she's doing, because people expect that she looks like she's carrying on and going forward, that it's not bothering her. But that's impossible. We're human beings. How could it not get to you? How could these things not bother you? Human beings go through it. And the idea is to understand that and respect other people just as you'd want to be respected. So this really resonated with me, again, as I said, because I see what she's going through. But again, I have empathy for her as a human being, that I can relate to things she's saying in this moment. So again, I can identify with that. You know, I'm not a mom. I haven't moved to another country to get married, to be in the public eye. But I can understand that on a basic human level. And for the women entrepreneurs who listen to this podcast, I have been listening to the many women have been on the show, to understand that we all go through these things. We don't always know what the right next thing is to do. Sometimes we make mistakes. We trip up. We know we want to get to our dream. We just don't know how that's going to manifest. We feel lost. We want someone to help to guide us or mentor us or show us the way. Or we thought we had the thing we wanted, and then somehow it doesn't work out or falls apart, or something in our life happens that changes everything. All these things affect our day-to-day. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad. There's nothing wrong with feeling like you want to give up. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know, I need a rest. I need to step back from this for a while because it's too much. Or reaching out for help. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're doing your business and this isn't working for you, then if you are like, I got to go another route, then that's what you have to do. I want to make a change, this other thing is better for me, then that's what you have to do. You know, I don't quite know what to do. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with saying you don't know it all. There's nothing wrong with saying I am tired. I can't be this tower of strength that people may want me to be, or always be smiling in my pictures or on Instagram or wherever you are, or in your life. It's okay not to have the answers. It's okay to be in that place in your life. And that's what I think is so important, that I really want to say, because I definitely have experienced that myself, for many reasons. And for instance, I decided, okay, I was going to go take a full-time position again, because I didn't want to go forward in what I was doing. I wasn't feeling like I was heading anywhere. And I, needed to get paid. So I said, okay, it's time to regroup and see where I really want to go. And what I found is, going back to corporate, it sucks as much as it did when I left. Excuse me. It still sucks. It's still bad. I'm still dealing with some of the same things that I dealt with when I left. The same trifling behavior, office drama. You just want to do your job, and you can't, because someone has to now create drama. It's the same. And I'm like, wow, this is terrible. This is terrible. What is going on? But realizing that, I'm like, okay, you have to do something else to move past this. This is just where I am in this moment, but I haven't let go of other things that I'm doing. As I mentioned when I do the show, I'm writing and publishing my fiction books. So I'm continually doing that, and I continually have a plan for where I'm heading with that. I may not have the same amount of time someone would have writing full time, but I have a plan for where I'm going and how I'm getting my work out there. And as far as what I'm doing from the business side, I'm regrouping and looking at what I want to share. I've done a lot of writing, of course, and coaching, and I've done presenting and speaking, all that kind of thing. But now it's like, okay, where do I really want to be now? Where am I heading next? What is my plan? Who can I reach out to who can give me some assistance and some help? Maybe some mentoring, some training, or something to help me now take this next step, to go in the direction I want to go in, because I know this other thing is helping me in the moment financially, but it's not really where I want to stay. So that's where I'm at right now. But in the meantime, when I'm dealing with work trauma, it sounds like I said trauma, doesn't it? I think sometimes being corporate, you may feel a bit traumatized, but it's drama that I'm going through with some situations, and understanding that and picking my battles. Now, I've had times when I've been very upset and angry, and I haven't shown that. For the most part, I work from home, thank goodness. But also I haven't shown that because, again, as I said before, for some people showing emotion, it's not received in the same way. And if I want to be taken seriously, then I have to take care of my business in a different way. That's what I've said to myself. Other people may feel differently. They may feel like, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to let people know. And that's fine, because I've been in situations at work where I have done that quite loudly. But you pick your battles. You decide, how am I going to handle my business? And there's different ways that you can do that. And you can feel comfortable doing that. So from my perspective, I'm just letting people know what my boundaries are, which is very, very important, I think, for people to do. So that you know when people are line stepping and trying to take advantage of you or disrespecting you, you can call that out. And let people know, no, this is not how that's going to go. But I also have my plans that I'm working on and putting together right now. So I can say, okay, I know what I'm going through. I'm not happy with this. This is not the way I want to be. But in the meantime, these are things I'm working on to take me to this other place. And understanding that I really have to hold my head up, which is kind of what I was kind of toying with the title of this whole episode. That I was saying, keep your head up. You know, that idea that you are, through whatever you're going through at this moment, whatever challenges you may have, that you can just put one foot in front of the other. If that's all you can do today, if your win is, I got up out of bed, I was able to literally put one foot in front of the other, then that's what your win is today for you. If your win is, I got a client, I got a customer, I create my website, I registered my business, I got my business idea, I got a clean bill of health, I got a new medical regimen that's helping me health-wise, then that's a win for you. I remember going to the park when I was doing more exercise, which is another thing I need to be doing. And this lady, really a relatively young lady, I think she may have been 30s, 40s, had a stroke. And she was out there with a walker, and she was moving very slowly down the path. One step, then the next step, then the next step. And it really, in a way, it frightened me a little bit, because I'm seeing this woman who's young and seeing what she's been through. And then, because a lot of times we want to think that when people are ill, it's people of a certain age or something. But that's, of course, as we know, that's not always the case. But then I saw her maybe about 3-4 months later. I would see her from time to time when I went there around the same time in the park. And now she was walking a little faster. She had a cane. And she was moving faster and not using the walker anymore. But for her to get to that point, she had to go through a lot of steps with the walker, step by step by step, day by day, for her to get to that point, to kind of get herself stronger every day, to get back to herself and deal with the challenges, health challenges now on top. Maybe, I really didn't know her to know what else was going on in her life, but to understand that, okay, this is something she has to face and deal with and take it step by step to, we could say, overcome. And that's the thing I'm saying. From a human perspective, I could relate to that. I could see a lesson there for myself. And that's what I guess, to tie everything back again. Speaking from a human perspective, we all have gone through things. We're all going through things. But from the perspective of this show, it's for people who are looking to create their business, to create their business dreams, because there's something that they want that's a little bit more, maybe, in that area than maybe other people do. Maybe that other people have their own desires, but this is yours, and this is what you're here for, to listen to hear other people's journey. I never want people to think that this is something that's super easy and effortless, and you don't have to go through things to get what you want with the entrepreneurial life. That it's simple, that there's simple steps to follow. You never have a problem, you never be sad, you never have life changes that happen that you also have to manage. That's, to me, the important point to realize. We're all just doing the best we can. And as Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. But it's to understand that when you're out there in the world, it can be very tough to go for your dreams. There can be people who try to pull you down, try to put you down, try to say negative things to you or give you negative reviews and drag you, not because of anything more than what's inside of them. A lot of people confuse mean behavior, cruel behavior with criticism as though somehow that's valid. It's not valid. There's ways to criticize without trying to dehumanize people. And if you don't know the difference, then you need to find out what the difference is. But nobody who really respects themselves is going to try to disrespect others, because you don't have to communicate in that way. You don't have to disrespect another person to share an opinion or whatever it is, a review or whatever it is that you're doing, to comment on what someone else is doing. You don't have to disrespect them or dehumanize them to do that. If you do, there's something wrong within you that you need to fix. Okay? And unfortunately, I think in our media, and I'm not going to blame that on social media, because I think that's something that's always existed, there's this idea somehow that some people always have the right to drag others down somehow. And I think that's why a lot of times people are afraid to step into their power and their greatness, because they're so sure that they're now going to have someone come for them and drag them and try to hurt them, because they are standing, figuratively standing, not literally, because, some people, that may not be what they can do. So I'm, using that metaphorically, that they now are in their life that they love, or they're working towards it, and now someone's going to come and try and drag that, because that makes them uncomfortable to see that you're happy, or to see that you're working towards where you want to go, or to see you have achieved a measure of success, and now their jealousy and meanness is going to come out fakingly called criticism. You don't ever feel lesser than. Don't ever feel that other people have a right to drag you somehow, that you deserve it. You're some terrible person that deserves it. Or that everybody's criticism of you is valid or necessary. It is not. Some people just want to drag you because they want to drag somebody. People who really want to help you, you know the difference. People who mentor you or want to help you or assist you, who may also give you suggestions as to how to be better, how to work on this thing or that thing better. You'll know the difference between those folks who are lifting you up and making suggestions or mentoring and those folks who are just dragging. You'll know the difference. Don't be gaslit into believing that someone who's dragging you is trying to help you. No, because if they were trying to help you, they wouldn't be dragging you. But that's a whole other topic, I think. That's a whole other topic that we could get to, which has to do with self-esteem issues and the like, and how bullying for some people is just a way of life, how they live their lives. And then they gaslight it into, well, you must be a problem if you don't like how I bully you. I'm like, really? Is that what we're doing? So you just have to understand that you are a person, you're a human being, you deserve respect. But first you have to respect, love, like yourself. If you do that, then you're going to establish those boundaries, and you're not going to be comfortable with other people disrespecting them and disrespecting you. Pick your battles, know what you can fight today, what you maybe should fight tomorrow, or maybe not fight at all, but find ways that you have to do what you do. That's part of what we have to do when we're going out here in the world and holding our heads up and moving forward. It's imperative to do that. Very much so. So, that's important. That was important for me to share with you today. I may have sounded a little bit more salty than I usually do, but this is a topic that I feel very strongly about. Very strongly about, as you can tell. Just a quick note, for those of you who probably heard the term gaslighting, and some of you may be kind of young to know what that means. And what I mean by that, to say you're kind of young to know what that means, is that I first heard the term from an old movie, and the movie was based on a play that I guess is from the 1900s or something. But there's a movie that I'm familiar with because I like old movies, and it's called Gaslight, and it has Ingrid Bergman and Charles Boyer. If that's not something you've heard of, then you can Google it. You'll find the Wikipedia page. You know, I love Wikipedia. That has a description of the story. And really what it's about is this man. Oh, I'm going to have to give spoilers. Maybe, okay, how can I describe it and not give you any spoilers? Because it is a good movie. It really is. They show it on Turner classic movies all the time. But basically, this woman falls in love with this man. She's a singer, and he's a pianist. And her aunt was an opera singer and got killed years before. And now she meets this man in, I think, Vienna or something. And she and her aunt had lived in England, but she left there and went under someone else's care after the aunt was killed. She meets this guy, and she's all in love, and he's in love with her, and la la la, da da. And then she has, I guess, an inheritance from the aunt. She also has the home, this beautiful home in England. And he's like, oh, let's go back there, hon, and we can live there in this beautiful house. So they do that, but then little by little things start happening around her that makes her start to doubt herself and her sanity. He's saying, oh, you misplaced this, and she's believing him because she was in love with him, and she doesn't think that he has any reason to lie to her. Oh, you forgot this, you left this. Oh, you're seeing things that aren't there. And then she starts to see that the gas, because the lights are gas lamps, goes down when he leaves the house. And she's like, what is going on? There's no one else in the house. Why is this gas going down? They have servants, but the servants aren't doing anything in the kitchen or anything, so there's no reason the gas to go down. And she mentions it, and of course it's like, well, something must be wrong with you because no one else is in the house. So basically the idea of the gaslight is to make her doubt herself, that she's not seeing what she's actually seeing, because he's constantly denying that she's seeing it or experiencing what she's experiencing, casting doubt on her. And one of the servants is hard of hearing, so there's things she doesn't hear that are going on. I'm not going to say any more about that. And the other servant is Angela Lansbury, who was like 18 or 19, and she's a mess in this movie. Wow. She's terrific, but totally different kind of person, totally different character than you may be familiar with if you've watched Murder, She Wrote or seen her in other stuff later in her life. Very interesting character she is. But the idea is making this young woman, this young bride, doubt everything in her life. She's doubting herself because she trusts that her husband and these other people obviously know more than she does. And if they're telling her she doesn't see what she sees, they must be right. So people are doing things that shouldn't be done, but then they deny it and turn around and say, well, you're the problem. You think you see this, you have a problem. Something's wrong with you. And that's what that term is meaning when people are doing these things, know what they're doing, but deny that they're doing them. Because they don't want to take the responsibility that comes with doing these really mean and often disgusting things to other people. They don't want to take that responsibility. They still want to be good people while they drag you. So it has to be your fault that they dragged you. Or you're imagining that they really dragged you. They didn't. You're imagining that they're being cruel or being hurtful. You just need to toughen up. You're just taking it too sensitively. I didn't mean it that way. As though somehow their intent is more than the impact. All those games, those mind games that people play, that happens in life, in families, in jobs, where people try to turn things around on you because they don't want to take responsibility for being the kind of person that they're being. And that kind of ties back to what I'm saying about what happens with Duchess Meghan and the media making up all kinds of stories and making everything into an issue. In everyday life, everything is not an issue, for God's sake. It's just life. Everything doesn't deserve a news story. Everything doesn't deserve criticism. Everything doesn't deserve you to pick people apart just for a living. So that's what I'm saying. That kind of behavior can frighten people from standing in their truth, showing up in the world as they want to show up, doing the things that they want to do because they're afraid that someone's going to come along now and come at them in a certain way because they dare to do whatever it is that you want to do. That may be out of your comfort zone or out of the comfort zone of people around you, or people who think you don't deserve to be this, that, or the other, have these things. That can keep a lot of people from really showing up in the world as they should be and as they want to be. What they call the tall poppy syndrome, that the tallest poppies get their heads cut off. If people are, I guess if you're using a garden implement and cutting stuff, that the tallest poppies are going to get cut. The idea that you just have to shrink into yourself and not let people see who you are and what you are and what you want to bring into the world. That's all of that, those experiences, and we can see other people going through things. And as a human, knowing that is hurtful, and knowing that some people celebrate hurting other people. This is just a fact. Though those people may deny it. I mean, I'm related to people who would deny the hurt they've inflicted. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about someone in the public eye that I don't know. I'm also relating that to things that I've experienced and other people around me have experienced, and behavior I've actually witnessed and seen happen. So it doesn't have to be because you're a celebrity or a star or a princess or whatever. It could just be your average person. And that's what I'm saying. It's a human experience. But let's not let that stop us from doing what we have to do in the world. And understand that you have to know who you are, what you want, how you feel about yourself. Have that in place. Your boundaries and all those things that will help you in the world. Those things have to be in place within you before you can step out here now, because you are going to encounter bad behavior. You just are. So what can we do within ourselves to be better for ourselves and for the work that we feel called to do, or the families we raise, or the relationships that we're in? That's what we have to look within the core of yourself and see how you can support yourself or be around people who are supportive and not destructive. And understand, if you feel something is wrong within you, pay attention to that. Don't let someone convince you you're wrong to take something seriously that's hurting you. You are the best judge of what is right for you and what's hurting you and what is not. Don't get turned around in that game that some people like to play. All right, I think I've said enough on this topic. I wasn't really trying to necessarily preach a sermon here, but because I have been a coach, because I feel so strongly when I see people being hurt out of cruel intentions and people's insecurities and jealousies and things that drive people to do the things they do to others. That's just something I feel, since I do have a podcast, I just want to say that. And I hope that what I've said has been helpful. And if you're one of those people who enjoys being cruel, then I hope that you've already turned it off. Or maybe you've learned something, and maybe you learned to look within instead of looking outside at other people and thinking that they're responsible for your happiness. If you only did something this way, you'd be happy with them. No, you're not going to be ever happy with them. You need to be happy with yourself first. So that's a little lesson from me to you. Okay? So, because trust me, I have to work through this myself. I'm not speaking to you from up on high. Definitely not. Which is my point. We're all going through something, so we're just trying to do the best that we can. And that's my point. So keep your head up. Keep your head up. And there will be more, as I said, more podcast episodes coming in the next few weeks. Probably up until December. I'm going to take a little break again, and then starting again next year. But there'll be more, so that you have more entrepreneurs to hear from and see what they have to say and share with you. All right? So that's it for now. Thanks so much for listening. See you again next time. Bye-bye.